Hey y'all, I'm so glad you're here. This is Ladies Kickin' Ass, a helpful and encouraging podcast for women who work in or support the home service and skilled trades industries. My name is Tanya Wilson, and I'm passionate about encouraging women to break into this industry, stand up in their roles if they're already here, tell their stories of badassery, and provide coaching, encouragement, industry secrets, and business hacks that I've personally used in my own companies to help you build and scale the service business of your dreams. But we can't talk hustle without addressing the bustle, and that means most of us are trying to do a million things at once. Like juggling being an entrepreneur, raising a family, being a partner, wife, sister, friend, soccer mom, doggy mom, and all those other titles that we love. It's all on the table here. We discuss the wins, the losses, marketing, momming, business development, relationships, and above it all, loving and believing in yourself. I'm on a mission to build a community of women that are supporting and celebrating the fact that most of us don't have our shit together, and that's okay. But together, with great support, we can do it all. Come on, let's do this. Welcome to the Ladies Kickin' Ass podcast. There we go. Hi, ladies. So today we are going to do a little roundtable style podcast episode for you. I am here today with four of the lovely ladies that work in my office. Sophie, my office manager, is here. Lauren, our office assistant, is here. And we have a brand newbie. Deanna is here. She's our permitting assistant that just started yesterday. So we're breaking her in real quick. And then we have Kayla here, who is our marketing guru and the owner of the Sophie Sutter. And we are so happy that you are here with us today. We are going to have a conversation about customer service. And the reason why I wanted to bring all of these ladies together is because I want to give you a perspective of what customer service looks like and feels like, what we hate, what we feel like could be improved, what we're trying to do as a company in order to get your juices flowing and get you start thinking about different ways that you can improve your business through customer service. We all know that typically when they call into the office, their first point of contact is typically your office staff. So I love to have these conversations with my office staff. I consider my office staff my sales team. With the addition of Kayla coming on, doing some marketing work for us as well, we've got kind of a full dynamic of women in here that hear different things from different people, are doing things differently within the business. And so we want to give you some fresh perspectives to think about within your company. So starting off, I would love to ask each one of you, what does customer service mean to you? Sophie?
I'll start, I guess. Customer service to me means, so at the end of the day, I was thinking about this. At the end of the day, it's a service that we're providing a service for someone and they're paying for it. So when you spend money, it's personal. So to expect that you're providing really impressive customer service, it should be, to me, at the very top of, that's a huge priority. So to me, that looks like feeling really comfortable and confident in what someone is paying you for. So making them feel really comfortable that they're spending their money on whatever service you are providing, and just being really confident in what you are providing.
Excellent. Because so many women, I think this is one of the biggest problems. And it's so interesting when you go to any kind of business seminars with women. As soon as there's something that's talked about that is in regards to sales, everyone balls up in the fetal position. I hate sales. You can't have a business if you don't have sales. If you love what you're selling or what your service is, you will never have to sell a day in your life, because people do business with people, not companies. And if that's one of the biggest things with Sophie and Lauren on the phones, people love them. They will trust them right off the bat because of their knowledge and their passion behind this business. And the ship business isn't something that a lot of people can get passionate about. You got to find the right people for your industry. But luckily we have them. Lauren loves to talk about poop. So with that, Lauren, tell us what customer service means to you.
Quality, professionalism, but also personally. Like, you have to be personable with your customers, and you have to also be professional. You have to find that boundary and read the room kind of when you're on the phone with them or in a space with them. But definitely quality, and then educating too. You've taught me that most definitely is education. You can't go blindly into something in any type of customer service industry, especially a home service industry, because you can get taken for a ride. So education, I think, is very important, is to be able to educate your customer about what you're doing. And then that will help them trust you right off the bat as well, right off the rip, is very, very important to me. And then the quality of what you provide. If you provide a quality service, just be honest, be communicative, you are going to far win them over 100%. I feel.
I agree.
Yeah. And in like the home service industry, a lot of times people will have this excuse if they're failing to excel or grow their scale their company and saying, oh, the market's too saturated here. The market is never too saturated ever anywhere, because no one does business exactly like you do business. And someone needs the way that you do business. Our customers within our septic company are never going to be the people that are just price shopping and don't give a shit about what service they get. They just need their tank pumped out. That's not who we are trying to serve. And that's okay, because there are other companies that those are their customers. Our customers value service. Our customers value education of their systems, and they're willing to pay for that. You should never be the lowest price person. And that is one of the biggest problems in the home service industry, that people forget there's a business behind that service that you're providing. Right. If you don't charge enough, you can't have good people. You can't pay them well. You can't provide benefits. You have like shitty offices for them to live in every single day, crappy equipment to deal with the guys in the field, or you're piecing crap together all the time. There's a business behind that. Give them something to pay for. Because if you're just going out and thank you much for your money and taking off, I mean, they're probably not even going to remember what your business name is. Give them a reason to remember you. There's this quote that I don't even know who said it, but I think it was like Mark Twain, that was like, people will rarely remember what you did, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And that is huge in this business, because people will leave us reviews. I'm such a boob, and I always get choked up about the reviews, because our people do such a good job with them. They totally do. And people say that a lot. Like, I felt comfortable with them. I felt like I could trust them. And those reviews are way better than like, came out, did a good job. You know, those become personal reviews, and they even remember the technicians' names. I suck at names, and I'll be the first to admit, like, when a service person comes to my house, I rarely remember what their name was when they walked out, unless they gave seriously good service. And then I will make it a point to thank them by name when they leave. And I will leave them a review and put that in it, because as a home service business owner, I know how important that is to the owners to have that feedback and for them to grow their company with those reviews. So when they're rightly deserved, they're given out in handfuls. And I think we've all learned that here. Everybody probably leaves more reviews now, since we understand the impact of what they give. Even when I'm pissed off, I don't want to leave a bad review. I'd rather like call the manager and be like, hey, you know, this kind of happened today, because everybody has an off day, you know, and the business shouldn't have to suffer for that. What does customer service mean to you, Deanna?
Well, we already hit a lot of good points, but to kind of branch off of them, reading the customer for sure, like Lauren said, and then anticipating, you know, what the customer needs. I think it's really important to like go that extra mile, and it shows that you care, and, you know, going off of, you know, making them feel good. Yeah, just like, if you show them like before they have to ask for something, then, you know, it shows that you know, are putting in effort, and that that they matter. And
Sure, you're becoming in tune with your customers.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times people will say, wow, we got a text message that your guy was en route. You know, we haven't seen that before. Even showing up with like the appropriate processes in place to show like customer service means something to us is that anticipation of something. Like they're probably not expecting that, even though we tell them that on the phone. You'll get a text when you're on your way, but they're a very professional text that is sent to them. And they're like, oh, look, there's a picture of the guy that's coming out and all of those things. So that is very important to anticipate those things, especially in the installation part of our business. Oh, you'll be anticipating like nobody's business because those people have lots and lots and lots of questions, which is great because you can answer their questions before they're like, oh, I was going to ask you that. Once you become well-versed in the process of how all of that stuff works and being able to provide them information, we'll be working with Kayla to come up with some more like infographics and like simple things for people to read so that they understand processes of your service and the things that you're doing as a business is so important.
I think anticipating, I'm gonna hop in real quick.
Yeah.
Anticipating too, not only on just a customer level, like each individual customer, but as we grow, anticipating over time what that customer needs. So each individual customer, we're anticipating what they need individually per service, but growing as a business, we now know because we're keeping track and we're paying attention. We now know this is what these types of people are going to need. This is what install will need. This is what each individual service will need because we've been paying attention and keeping track. And then it just makes things that much, we can impress people. Organize and impress people just as much because we now know from past experiences what these people are looking for.
Sure. And what other people, you make an excellent point too, Sophie, of like people, what the people on your team are needing from you to be able to do their job is a huge form of customer service. Albeit behind the scenes, it is still a huge thing. Sophie and I have put together and taken apart 1,000 different processes and reworded scopes of service and contracts and invoices and products and services and made online, booking a thing and then made it an unthing and realized this is a pain point. This is a growth point. Nope, that sucked. This works. That is the constant evolution of the business. It's as simple as something like when people start a business, they're like, this is our value statement. And they stick it up on the wall and then they never revisit this. Well, that was great when it was you and your wife or you and your husband or you and your cousin that started this business. But now you've got 7 employees there. Is this actually still the way that you believe in doing business? And do those people share those values? And do you talk to them about that? Because you should be building a team so strong that you don't know who the owner is. If you have a business that is like that, your business can't fail because it is truly an employee team owned business when people act like that, when people feel like they're contributing to the growth and being part of those processes. It's so cool to see how a business can take off. It's just absolutely insane because truly, yes, I started this business, but I'm not the one that built this business. I found the right people and built a team. And now this team is building this business. And that is one of the funnest things to watch people grow in. When Sophie came with us, she had been working at Starbucks and had been in property management. Now she's managing a team of people and watching her evolution of growth in that stuff and giving her the opportunity to do that is providing insane service for our customers. She's learning all aspects of this business and being able to offer that to everybody. Well, who else do you think is going to learn how to do that? Well, of course, Lauren's going to be doing that because it's a byproduct of what she sees mirrored in front of her every single day. And it just keeps going down the line as you grow your team. So think about the back end of that customer service too. It's really important. Good point. Now, Kayla comes to us with a little bit of a different perspective of things because she works in marketing all of these services and these reviews and all of this education that we're trying to get out there. So how would you use social media and online marketing to provide excellent customer service for a home service company?
So for me, customer service can be summarized pretty simply, and that's just doing what you say you're going to do. And I think that kind of ties in with branding and building your online presence, is just accurately presenting yourself before a customer even reaches out to you. You're setting accurate expectations of what you're going to do. And then when you talk to them, you say what you're going to do, and then you follow through and actually do it. So I think there's a lot of honesty and integrity that wraps into that. And it kind of goes against maybe the bad rep that sales have, which is why I love what Tanya said about having her customer service people be her salespeople. So there doesn't really need to be a sales team. Because I've heard a lot of salespeople in the past say things like, oh, we just sell the dream and then someone else can service it. And I think that is the worst thing you can do. I think you should just tell people what you're going to do and then do it, even if you think it's not what they want to hear and you don't end up doing business with them. It's much better than telling them they're going to do something and not doing it.
Yes. Oh, thank you. That's a great perspective. And Sophie's shaking her head, and so is Lauren, because they know the pain that we go through with choosing to be that company of integrity and to do the right things and to follow through on the things that we say that we're going to do can sometimes really piss people off, especially in this home service industry, especially if you work in an industry where you may be servicing things that might not appear to be broken, but they're screwed. You know, we see that often with like the septic tanks that we service. Sure, it's working from inside of the house, but we open it up and there's a tree growing inside of it that has now created a hole in the back end of it. And the whole area around your septic tank, albeit you can't see it yet, is poop soup. And you don't know, you didn't even know until we came out there. And we could just say, yep, pumped it, took your money, and move on to the next one as to not piss these people off. But being able to tell them, this is what's wrong. This is what caused it. Here's the remediation of this. Sometimes they don't want to hear that they've got to abandon a system and put in a new one to the tune of $10,000 to $30,000. But that, unfortunately, is one of the joys of having home ownership, too. And also the importance of having ethical home service people that come out, do what they say they're going to do, and give you a clear picture of what you're dealing with inside of your home. That is something we take very personal, and I feel has been just repeated so many times that our team doesn't have a choice but to agree with it. in you always do what is right. Because in the end, even if they don't want to hear it, it benefits this customer. They're not passing a problem on to the next homeowner if we go do an inspection. No one wants to pay for that stuff, but somebody has to, and it's the responsibility of the person that owns it currently. So we are very firm in that. A lot of times when the guys are out in the field, they get a lot of guff for that, or even the ladies in the office get the guff for that once they send reports over. And I know it can be a task even to collect your money when somebody is upset about things like that. So make sure you have policies and procedures in place to secure that prior to having any of that frustration with homeowners.
I'll bring up a flip side of that. So just even yesterday, a gentleman wanted something pumped through the ports, which is something that we do not do. And it ended up being that he wanted it pumped through a sewer line clean out. So it's a horizontal pipe in the ground that so many other companies, so many other times have been pumping out of. So this is benefiting him and bringing in Lauren's piece of education. We're educating him that this is not what we do. We are not going to take your money for $350 to pump air.
Yeah.
And he's saying, why can't just do it? Just do it. We're not going to do it. So bringing the education piece of he's not happy, even though we are saving him money, we're doing the right thing and he's still unhappy, but just kind of sticking to our guns and knowing that this is the correct thing to do. This is benefiting him in the long run. He doesn't see it now, but him in the long run, and obviously benefiting us as well, that we are a business that we're just not going to be doing that.
Sure.
Kind of business.
And yes, that conversation with that guy, I walked out of that one before I heard the absolute end of that thing. But unfortunately, because of the non-ethical things that go on in the home service industry, people will continue to roll in and take $350 and they're not pumping anything but, like what Sophie said, air. That is a cap to a sewer line. You can't pump a septic tank through a sewer line. That's like trying to like suck a hose sideways and try to pick something up from across the room. It's not, that's down in the basement. You're not gonna,
Right.
it's like trying to do that with a vacuum, you know? It's literally what our pump trucks are. It's like trying to stick a vacuum hose sideways and downstairs to suck up what's on the carpet downstairs. It's not going to happen, which is the reason why he's going to continue to keep having problems. And watch, eventually, hopefully, sometimes more often than not, these people call us back and say, I'm still having this problem. Okay, I want to pay for you to come out there. You know, it's a difference of a whole $125 that he was having a fit about that was actually going to save his rental property versus continuing to pay somebody $350 to pump air out of a sewer line cleanout. Sometimes you can explain that to people, sometimes you can't. But don't be afraid to turn the service down if these people do not understand it. Don't ever compromise your ethics in your business just for the dollar bill. Ever. It will always come back and bite you in the ass. Every single time. I've never had that not happen. Even when you make an exception of like, oh, okay, well, because you don't want to dig up your yard, then we'll go ahead and do this. And then the next person moves in and almost always we've got backups in our house. Oh, well, okay. That's why we don't do that stuff anymore, because we don't want that to happen. We don't want that kind of phone call coming back into the office. That is something with the team that we have developed, is that we rarely ever get phone calls that come back in of like a service that they feel was not done or completed, but we never get phone calls that come in talking about characters of the people that are in our company, which is so important. That's the goal, you know. There's always going to be unhappy people about stuff. People will file, what do we have the other day? A credit card dispute because I don't know why. We had them on the phone and confirmed everything and ran a credit card. And then they went back to the credit card company and the reasoning on it said fraudulent. So now we bear the responsibility of proving that we provided this service. Haven't had any issues with that in the past, but we have had a couple lately that, you know, people have done things like that, which they seemed perfectly fine on the phone and even gave us permission to run the credit card. And now they have decided to go the other direction. That's one of those things where if you do inspection services as a home service company, make sure that you have signed paperwork stating, if this happens, we're still going to charge you. It is just like a home inspector that goes out. They're going to give you a punch sheet of like, depends on what your house is like, but could be, you know, like a Santa to-do list. You still got to pay the guy for coming out there to do it, even though you got to pay for all these repairs. Your service should be no different than that. But I'm sure they have documentation also that says, regardless of what we find wrong with your house, you're paying us to come out to do a service, which is something that we have, and we have to constantly change because there's always something else that comes out. When we first started that, it was a 1-page document. Well, now it's about a 4-page document, and they bear the burden to read that and sign off on it. If they don't and they sign it, we've given them the opportunity to understand how the business works. So covering your butt with that stuff is also very important. So if you could tell me, each of you, what is a deal breaker with something that happens in customer service? So if you call Joe the plumber to come out to your house, or the pest control company or a home cleaning company, what is a deal breaker for you in regards to customer service? And tell me one thing that impresses you.
I'll go first.
Yes.
A giant pet peeve of mine, no matter if it's at Target or if it's someone coming into my house, someone being cold, they're providing a service to me. So then being cold or even cold on the phone, I want to know your name. We have a small conversation about our dog. Great. Like that to me is absolutely lovely. So someone not doing those things, we don't have to talk about my dogs, but someone not providing, a warm, comforting environment to have a conversation, in the nicest way is a pet peeve.
Yeah.
And something that, what was it? Really impressive.
Something that impresses you.
I guess just on the flip side, being really personal. I love getting on, in my experience, just being on the phones. of connecting with people. I love connecting with people. We can have a conversation, them sparking conversation about something. It doesn't have to be personal, but just to relate on a human level is really, really lovely to me. So I feel like, and that can be taken, like I said, in any industry.
It's as simple as asking somebody that calls into your office, how's your day going today?
Right.
And then they can be like, oh, my damn dog, blah, 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 or did something, or my kid, or something else. And you're like, oh, you have to, what kind of dog do you have? Blah, blah, blah. I know Sophie has such great conversations. Sometimes she's doing recipe swaps with people. So
I have sent a couple recipes to people.
Which I love. I tell people that story all the time. And I love it so much. Though that is something that you are going to, people are going to remember you. Like, we've had a review that was left that the person didn't even use our service, but he felt like he wanted to leave us a review because his neighbor talked about how much he liked us. Which is hard enough to get somebody that likes you to leave a review, let alone that. So that guy, that neighbor was left with a serious impression from start to finish with this company. And we hear that often. It's not just the guys in the field. It's not just the ladies in the office. It's not just dealing with Jake and the install team or anything like that. It's from start to finish. This company was fantastic. That's where being like super consistent with everything you do every single day with every single purpose or every single person makes all the difference in the world.
Agree.
Then you don't ever have to worry about it because you just consistently do it the same way all the time. Okay, Lauren, what are your deal breakers and what impresses you?
I agree with Sophie. Personal. I always I emulate what I want to get back. So I try to be really personable to people. Yes. So if somebody's not that way to me, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a shot in the heart.
Yeah.
Why are you so mean? That would definitely be a deal breaker for me. Also, somebody who talks first impression, or even if they come to your home, but when they speak down to you because you don't know that industry, it really goes up sideways where the poop don't shine.
Yep.
It gets me good. And that is a total deal breaker for me. If you talk to me like I'm an idiot, like legalese, doctor speak, dumb it down for me. I'm not in your industry. So that would be a deal breaker for me. If we were on the phone scheduling something and they were just going on about, oh, this, your car is broken because the kniffle pin, the foo-foo valve, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, talk to me in English now. I would never take my car into them because that is just they're going to take me for a ride some way or another.
Yep.
Because they're not even telling me what would actually be wrong. They're just trying to make me feel like something else is wrong that's not. So that's definitely something that I like to make sure also, because I didn't come into the septic industry knowing a lot. So I like to, explain things the way I like it explained to me, just dumb it down a little. I like it to be very simple. Definitely the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. We're on a basis, pretend I don't know anything and we're going to get along just fine. What impresses me is when people automatically try and do that, is that they're just listen, this is not working because of A, B, C, and D. And they take you through this and let you know why this is not working. And then you feel more confident and comfortable with them. And you can trust them. And that's really impressive to me. I have a really good pest control company and they do this. I just got a text from them last night. Hey, Miss Lauren, it's Tony. We're going to be there for your November, whatever, pest control. I'm just giving you a heads up. They always give me a text the night before. They give me a call the morning before. And then if we're home, sometimes we're not home, so they just be outside. But if so, they knock on the door and they're like, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? And and he always double checks with us. He's the sweetest person in the world. And I'll tell him oh, I have an influx of crickets in the garage. And he's like, well, you know why? I'm going to tell you why. And he tells me everything, everything that I have a concern about. And he tells me why it's happening. And I'm like, Tony, you're the best person in the world. Yep. He's just the best. And it makes you feel so good. They have so much communication from the service techs to us. And then when you get there, they take the time with you. And it's just so nice. And so oh, that's why this is happening. He's like, well, maybe you shouldn't put this piece of wood so close to here. And I'm going to solve your problem for you right now.
Yes.
So that's what I like about it. And that's what impresses me and my pet peeves. Thank you for letting me air that out.
Yes. Okay, Deanna, you're up.
Okay.
What are your deal breakers and what impresses you?
So it's obviously inevitable for it to happen, but when a customer yells at you for something that's not your fault, it's never fun, but they have to let their anger out to someone, and the best way is to just take it and to let them know that you understand and you hear them. Like 9 times out of 10, the customer will be satisfied if they just hear that you are understanding of them and that they're being heard. And then just turning it around for them. So dealing with that, obviously, it's a pretty negative feeling to have to deal with, but, making them happy in the end will, feel better on both sides.
Sure.
Impressing me, definitely, being informative, like Lauren said, is nice. And then getting the work done like quick and efficiently. Obviously, it's, you have to be good at what you're doing, and problems do occur, of course, but like getting stuff done sooner than expected, I think is always a good feeling to have.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And it's good too, like within the office, we have a policy that the girls check in with the guys like every 2 hours. Sometimes when they're having a shitty day like that, or a customer has yelled at them or something, sometimes they can get, I know our guys definitely take that personally because they do their very best at every job. And when they feel like somebody is unsatisfied with them, that really eats at them. But being able to provide that support to them, Lauren is fantastic with that on the phone. Somebody will be having a bad day and she'll always say something to chipper them up. I think a lot of that is just the tone of her voice to them too, is like, I understand that you're having a rough day. I'm sorry that you're having a rough day. And sometimes that's all somebody needs to hear. And then they don't take it to the next job and be frustrated there already. Sometimes you're in an industry that like every job can kind of really suck that day. It didn't work out. Tank's under a chicken coop. It's under pavers. It's under the house. We didn't make any money today. Like my guys will be very upset about that stuff. Like that is a big deal to them. And it's just reassuring them that I know that today sucked. It's not you. Unfortunately, that was the hand we were dealt today. Tomorrow will be better. And as an owner of that, or if you're a manager or key player in a business like that, continuing to let them know that you care about them when it is those situations. I've had them with the guys that they've been visibly upset when they leave here at the end of the day, just because they had shitty jobs or a day or something like that. But we still, like, I'll shoot them a text at nighttime and just tell them, so sorry about your day. Tomorrow will be better. I truly appreciate you. Those little things will go a million miles for your business because they realize that you care about them as a person, and it's not just how much money are you making this business every single day. We all have days like that. So you've got to humanize your business too and take care of your people first. It's big, big, big deal to me. Kayla.
Yes.
What are your deal breakers and what impresses you?
So, not to be overly repetitive going off my definition of customer service, but my deal breaker is when someone tells me they're going to do something and then they don't. It's just you're wasting both of our times. And I'd rather people just be upfront with me, even if they're telling me what I don't want to hear. Just don't tell me you're going to do something if you're not going to do it. And then what impresses me, I guess piggybacking on what everyone said, is when businesses take the time to explain the process. To give an example, I recently got a fender bender, and luckily Arizona has a policy where you're allowed to take your car wherever you want, and the insurance doesn't get to pick. So I found a place by me that had good reviews, and I went there, and the guy, obviously the stereotype exists for a reason. Being a girl taking your car to a mechanic is not always a very good time. And this guy really was phenomenal. He took me to the back, showed me the different stages, was explaining, we won't really know this till we get the bumper off. This could happen. We expect it to be this time frame, but these are the things that could be roadblocks, and really just set an accurate expectation for me. And I thought that was really impressive that he took the time to take me to the back of the shop and show me that. Mm-hmm. And then another thing that is definitely not a deal breaker for me, and it's not something I ever expect from a company, but I know Priority Pumping does it, and when other businesses do it, it really does impress me is when you can text a real person, because we're not always in a position where we can pick up a phone, or do we want to pick up a phone, and just be able to text somebody and get a reply, I think is just so convenient and awesome.
Yeah. The evolution of having textability, is that a word? It is now. Yeah. Lauren. She's getting a percentage of that. The textability is very, very, very important. And I think a lot of, like, we try to advertise that as much as we can. I mean, it's like plastered on the front of our website, but people still are kind of like, well, I gotta do this. I don't know about you, but like, I was thinking about this. I'm like, I can't remember. I think I was talking to you about it. I was like, I never pick up my phone and answer it unless I know who the person is that's calling me, because as my phone number is circulating all over the internet with businesses and things like that, it is spam call after spam. Oh my gosh, how many times my phone rang yesterday? I was like, click, click, click. It's like red all day long. But and even the people that end up listening to my 3-minute voicemail on purpose so they won't leave one, they still leave a voicemail on there. Kayla's learning. She texts me now. I check it like every 3 or 4 days because I don't ever do that. Now, obviously, if you have an office and your office is set up on cell phones like ours is, so that we can be mobile and still do our business, you want to check your voicemails, because people still leave voicemails at businesses because that's what they expect. But you have the ability to have visual text message, which you'll have today, Lauren. Yay. And to be able to respond to them that way. Having chat bubbles on your website is another way that people can contact you. Making sure a voicemail is set up and the voicemail is working. We learned that the hard way last week. And getting the feedback from your customers on things like that. Like, was it easy to find us? Like, were you able to find us? How did you find us? You know, was it easy to get in contact with us? Even having like those after service surveys that are sent out to customers, you're going to get about 1 to 5% of those actually sent back to you. But in the ones that actually do respond, which is something that I'm planning on doing at the beginning of this next year, I want to know, was it easy to get a hold of our office? How was the level of service? Did you feel educated after our technicians had been there? Was the pricing fair? You know, just different areas of your business. If you don't get honest feedback, whether it be negative or positive, how are you supposed to change and morph your business into being something better and what people are actually looking for? Yes. And it's so very important to do that. Even finding how people find you on the internet.
Yeah. Can I add one thing to that? Okay, so I think that the chat bubbles on websites are huge and very important. But one thing I would say is, if it is just going to be a bot sending response after response, or somebody's message is going to go to the abyss and never get addressed, you're better off to just not have it on there than to have people reaching out to you that they're never going to get a response. So make sure you have a process in place to actually get a response to those customers that are reaching out to you, or they're going to be even more frustrated than not having the chatbot there to begin with.
Yes, for sure. Those the little automations that come with some of the chat bots. We've been through a couple of them, and we need to fine tune the one that we currently have too. But that's where making sure, like, okay, we've set up a process to have this chat availability.
As long as it goes somewhere.
Now, is it working properly for us? We had one that, like, people would send us messages, and then Sophie and I, like, 2 days later, be like, where the hell did this come from? Like, we wouldn't get the notifications. The app wasn't really great at talking about stuff. There was supposed to be an app on the computer that sometimes would come up, and sometimes you'd get it 2 days later. It was like some kind of cryptic voicemail weird thing, or like then somebody could leave a voicemail and you're like, well, where'd they go to do that? There's no like microphone spot for this. So really, like, going back and making sure that the stuff you've set up is actually working and benefiting your customers. Sometimes we try to be everything to everybody, and we all know how well that sucks because it doesn't work. You can't be everything to everybody, but you can get really good at a couple of things and do those things really, really well. You can build off of those if it is to the benefit of your team and to your customers and to the customer service within your company, but don't try to do everything all at once. I'm sure you get that a lot from people asking about like social media marketing, which tends to be like super hard for some people to grasp a hold of. It's like, well, what do I post? I've never had that problem. I have like way too many ideas to post. Poor Kayla, when she came on, was probably like, okay, I got enough. Like giving her just stacks of stuff to do. But recognizing like, where is your audience hanging out that you want to communicate education and services and promotions and things like that to them, you know? How are you doing that, and how often you are doing those things provides a ton of customer service.
Yeah.
Our social media channels, you can learn all about septics just scrolling through our Instagram page. They are phenomenal, and it's been a labor of love with a bunch of people just contributing to this. So it's been fun to be able to build that up. Building a robust library of things that you can directly send to your customers should they have questions about things is something that you should also look into making sure that you are running your business as efficiently as possible. So in closing, I want to know what is one piece of advice you would give a start-up home service company in regards to customer service? So they're just starting out and they're trying to like get their feet wet in things, and they're like maybe owner operator situation, or maybe they have a very small team so they don't have a lot of resources yet. What is one of the most important things that you think starting out that they should incorporate in their business?
I would say the first thing that popped in my head was start slow. If you are going to compromise your customer service, or, you know, whether it be customer service or integrity of the company, to me, it's not worth it. Start super slow. You know, if that's a job a day, but knowing that you kicked ass on that job, you provided excellent customer service, you communicated, you educated, that's well worth just that one job and skipping out on possible other jobs or whatever it may be, just to make sure that you provided an incredible service with great customer service. So start slow.
Excellent. Lauren?
Be honest, ethical, do what you say you're going to do. And I don't know.
Those are all good things.
Yeah, be personable. It's so easy, and it's so, everyone makes it complicated, but it's just so easy. Just be a person. Be a good person, and good people will do good things, and all good things will come.
Yep. And I love what you said earlier about like modeling what you would expect from somebody, you know, like I sit there like, what did we have? Like if like the cable company, they tend to be like the worst with time frames. They're like, we'll be there between 8 and 6 on Thursday. You're like, so I guess I'm taking Thursday off. And then they call them reschedule. That's the worst. But like, I want to have a 2-hour window. Like, I understand that as a service provider myself, but a 2-hour window should be able to be met. Don't give me a 4 or 5 hour window. I got to sit and wait for you. That drives me crazy. Especially if you're something that's coming like, I'm coming to give you an estimate. I'll be there between 12 and 5. Home warranty companies are the worst at that. And I don't want to wait for 12 to 5. So doing what you say you're going to do with those things is, and being that person that you expect. I think if you take that approach in building your business, you will have a superior business. Don't chase the dollar, chase the service. Do the service. Deanna?
I think just being like overly communicative with the customers, but your staff more importantly. It just keeps everyone organized, and you know, there's nothing worse when you get a call from a customer and they're like, oh, so-and-so told me that this is going to be done already. And it's like, okay, well, the lack of communication will help you, you know, keep afloat and keep moving in the right direction.
Yes, for sure. Kayla?
My one piece of advice, I would say, don't just say yes to everything you get asked to appease the customer. You might be worried about making money, so you just want to say yes to every job, or your fear of disappointing people, so you're just saying yes to make them happy. But you just, I think, need to pick what you're really good at and be really good at that. Don't worry about checking all the boxes for everyone. Just do what you're good at, and you will grow, and people will appreciate that.
Yes. It's the old under promise over deliver thing is a huge thing. That as you're growing, and if you're struggling because you are growing and your team hasn't grown yet, that can be a huge struggle point. I know that has been within this business. Like, oh, we'll call you back. And then they're like, I've been waiting for 2 days for you to call back. Okay, so we need more people and more hands on this because we don't have enough people to do all of that. Recognize your weaknesses and hire those things out first. You will never regret that. You know, that's something inside of a business like finances. Oh, I know how to do them. I don't want to. Like if I'm off a penny, my OCD will have me up till 4 a.m. trying to find it. That's not a good thing. Let somebody else do that stuff for you. For $300, you can have your sanity back. It's worth every penny. It's like one of your favorite bills you can pay every month. Same thing with like social media stuff. I love it. I love the creativity behind it, but I cannot tell you how much weight is off knowing that that's consistently being done by hiring that out to someone else who understands your business. Don't just hire stuff out to people that you have no idea, or you found some random person online and just paid them money. So many people in the home service industry, speaking of social media marketing, get taken for a massive ride or SEO services and say, I'm doing all this stuff to your website and I'm doing all of this. And you're like, show me. But people don't know what to ask them because they don't understand how it works. Find people that know your industry and find people that are interested in getting to know your company, because there is nothing worse than impersonal social media posting and marketing and websites that look like they have stock images in them. Use your own people. They're your best spokespeople, your best models. You'd be surprised how many of these roughneck guys that work in this industry clean up quite nice if you give them a pretty polo shirt and take them on a photo shoot. We just did that with ours, and the guys were like, oh, I gotta take pictures. But that's okay. They had fun. They were characters more so than the girls were out there. They were posing all kinds of stuff that cannot be posted anywhere, but they had a good time.
Priority only fans.
Yeah, priority only eyeballs. So in closing, thank you so much, ladies, for coming together to have this conversation. I think this will help a ton of people that are in our audience that do work in the home service industry, or if you're even contemplating starting one, you've got more ideas than you know what to do with. This is one you could listen to a couple of times and really implement in team meetings, or take one thing at a time. Don't try to do them all at the same time. Get really good at that and then move on to the next one.
Can I say one kind of final closing?
Yes. In closing, Sophie says.
No, just kind of, thank you for kind of bringing us all in here because it's very, very interesting. We are all women. We are all like within 10 years of age range. Mm-hmm. And we all have very different things that we said, but they all connect. So me, myself, connection was huge. Lauren, education popped up multiple times when you were talking. Deanna, you want to be heard and understood, and that's very important to you. Kayla, you talked about follow through and not being catfished and just how important that is to you. So we all have different things, and they all connected when we all shared. So it's just a really good takeaway of like how important. There's so much stuff that could be talked about, worked on, improved. I just think that was really cool.
Yes. Thank you for the recap of that too, because that even gives you a starting point if you're contemplating working on some of this stuff in your business, and you better be contemplating on it, to start with those little topics, start with one and improve that and then move to the next one. I'm sure we'll be having more of these as the office just keeps growing with abundance and lots of good knowledge and perspective. So if you have any ideas of things that you want more perspective on, we're all ears, and you can find us on ladieskickinass.com. Thanks. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Ladies Kickin' Ass podcast. I would love to invite you to become part of our exclusive community on Facebook groups. There is so much value there in inspiring you to chase your goals and coaching you on how to get there. Plus, you get the support of other women from across the world who have also joined. You can also find us all over social media and at our website, ladieskickingass.com. All social media platform links are in the show notes below, so we've made it nice and easy for you. Be sure to join so you are the first to hear about exciting programs and announcements that we have coming up. And ladies, there's some good stuff. And never miss a notification for an exciting new podcast episode release. If you yourself are a lady that is kicking some serious ass and you have an awesome story that you would love to share with our audience about running your business while raising your family and becoming the woman of your dreams, I want to talk to you. Check out our website at ladieskickingass.com/podcast, where you can apply to be a guest on our show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Tell me what you think of it with a rating and share this episode with anyone you think it may inspire or help. Have a great week, and I'll see you back here next Friday. Bye for now.